I have no idea what umbrella rig this is. To be quite honest, I got this one out of Douglas Lake. So if you lost an umbrella rig that looked like this on Douglas Lake, I believe I was right below Muddy Creek, on a bluff right there below Muddy Creek is where this came from. So if this is yours, leave me a comment and I'll mail it back to you. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is the month of January. This is our pick 4 baits for the month, and want to go through, some stuff that is hopefully going to work for you wherever you're living, as long as your water's not hard. If your water's hard, there ain't much I can do for you. You need to drive, you need to hop in a vehicle, hop on a plane, whatever, get somewhere further south, because if you can't fish horizontal, none of this stuff's going to do you any good. Just going to throw that out there. So you got to be able to fish horizontal. Maybe take a ditch witch out and cut a trail in the ice. That's what I've always thought about people ice fishing. Instead of just drilling a hole and having to fish here, you could like ditch witch. Anyway, so here's what we've got. We've got 4 baits that should work across most of the country in the month of January. These are all things that I can take out here, generally speaking, in East Tennessee and catch fish on every single one of them. For this month. So first up, really the fastest moving bait anymore in this lineup, and it's going to be a lot slower retrieve with the Rapala OG Tiny as what it was for most of the fall. Once we've got down to this time, this late in the year, you're going to be fishing this bait considerably slower than you would have in those earlier months. But I think it would blow a lot of people's mind to know just how shallow I catch a lot of bass in the month of January. It would absolutely blow their mind. And that little Tiny is hands down the single best way that I know to do that. It really, really works on those fish at times up in that shallow water that are still up there feeding on bait and will sometimes seem a lot more aggressive than what you would think in 45 to 50 degree water. That little dude, reel it down there, stop and pause, reel it down, stop and pause, and anywhere you can find some bait, those are the kind of places, any of this stuff, those are the kind of places where you're going to want to fish it. So big deal with Tiny. Slow retrieves, a lot of pauses anytime you bounce off a piece of cover, and as well as not just those flatter places where those fish are chasing bait, but any kind of little steep transition rocky type places. That's another one where that one's really going to come into play. Next up will be a jerkbait. That's a Rapala Shadow Rap, deep. This bait will run about 8 feet deep on a good long cast. If you let it sink a little bit, you can even get it down to 10. But a suspending jerkbait is definitely a great bait in the wintertime. I think of fishing down at Chickamauga. Man, that dude right there has caught me some really, really big ones in the month of January. So a suspending jerkbait is something that works all across the country because you're just able to hold it right there in that fish's face, and really tantalize them with it. Just sitting there, it's hovering right in front of them. Eventually, you'll get the best of them just because it's sitting there in front of their face and they're just going to swim up and suck that dude in. So suspending jerkbait, really hard to beat, and I love the action of that Shadow Rap shad, or Shadow Rap, which is what this one is. The Shadow Rap shad's a great one as well, but that Shadow Rap deep is a really good one. Again, the single swim bait, the Bass Pro Speed shad, I don't throw the 3.8 near as much as I do just that little 3-inch once you get to the month of January. I feel like those fish aren't looking for a big meal most of the time. They're wanting something small. It's going to be easy on them to digest. They don't want to get too full, I feel like. So I think that they like to eat some smaller meals, and it's just easier to generate bites a lot of times on those smaller baits. So that little 3/16 ounce VMC hybrid jig head, 3-inch Bass Pro Speed shad, that is a deadly combination once you get into the month of January. And again, small bait, but dude, it will absolutely catch some big ones. The final one, I had to, at some point in time, throw the Alabama rig in here, and if I'm going to use it, I'm going to have those speed shads on the back of it. A lot of times I'll rig up 4 of those speed shads that are the 3-inch, and then the one in the middle I'm going to put the 3.8. I have no idea what umbrella rig this is. To be quite honest, I got this one out of Douglas Lake. So if you lost an umbrella rig that looked like this on Douglas Lake, I believe I was right below Muddy Creek, on a bluff right there below Muddy Creek is where this came from. So if this is yours, leave me a comment and I'll mail it back to you. But that's where this one came from. It was what I had handy just to show an umbrella rig. And I don't know why it wouldn't work. And they had it rigged legal for the state of Tennessee. They had 2 dummies, had 3 with hooks. But an umbrella rig definitely in the month of January is a great way to go out and target, especially a bigger fish. It seems like anymore, it's not quite as good at catching the numbers as it was at one point in time, but definitely an umbrella rig is a way to catch them. So thanks for watching again. Month of January can be some phenomenal fishing. I've had some unbelievable days out there this time of the year. I've had some very miserable days as well, but if you're willing to get out there, fight the elements, suit up. And one last tip I would leave with you. Should have mentioned this on the December video especially, but no doubt in January, you're going to have layers on. You need to stay warm. Just fish in your life jacket. Have an Onyx inflatable on, put that dude on, keep it on all the time. It's not uncomfortable whatsoever. It's not uncomfortable with just a t-shirt on. It's definitely not when you've got all those layers on. You never know when you're going to go in the water. Nobody plans to in January. If you've got that Onyx inflatable on, even if something happens, you're going to be safe. So just be sure to wear that. Just a little tip that I wanted to share there. When you go out fishing in the month of January, always wear that inflatable. There's absolutely no reason not to. So hope you all enjoy this. Stop by Bass Pro, pick you up a few of these baits, especially those speed shads, some Rapala shadow wraps, or just pick your umbrella rigs out of the lake. It's like picking up litter and you get a bait, free bait to use all day long.